I want to explain what an expiration date on an offer to purchase a home in Pennsylvania means. So first of all, there's a spot to fill in on the offer for when the offer expires. What that means is that the offer, which has been signed and initialed by the buyers, is presented to the sellers. If the sellers sign it before that expiration date, that means there is a signed binding contract between the two parties. If the seller decides to sign it after that expiration date has passed, the buyer does not have to honor it. The buyer can choose to and say, okay, great, but they don't have to. So some people put an expiration date of just a date, January 26th. Sometimes people put a time on it as well, so January 26th, 1 p.m. The idea is that from a buyer's perspective, they don't want to just have an offer hanging around out there with their signature on it that the seller could take 2 weeks to decide whether he's interested in, because that would preclude the buyer from looking at and putting an offer on another property. Because if there were no expiration date and 2 weeks after they put the offer in, that seller decides to sign it, they can't very well have put an offer on something else, because what if that second offer gets signed by seller number 2? Now they're under contract for 2 houses, which is never going to work. So that's why there is a place for the expiration date. There's also strategy as far as what people put on that expiration date. Frequently, especially when there is a lot of interest and there are multiple offers on a house, buyers will try to pressure the seller into taking their offer by saying, hey, Mr. Seller, this expires, tonight by 10 p.m. And if you're going to be greedy, because I'm giving you a great offer, and wait around to see if you get something better, and then you don't, and you come back to me tomorrow morning and say, yes, you'd like to sign it, hey, it's expired, so I may say no. So it's often used as a way to pressure a seller into doing that whole, well, bird in the hand versus two in the bush kind of thinking. Sometimes people will put longer expiration dates on as a way to say to the seller, I want to give you time. I know you have other things to look at. So there's some psychology and strategy involved in what you put as an expiration date. But just understand that if a seller signs it anytime after the expiration date, the buyer can choose to not honor whatever it was. Furthermore, one last thing, if you do put an expiration date on and the date goes by and the seller has not signed it, you can always resubmit a second offer. And that offer can be identical with a later expiration date, or you can change your offer. So if you've tried to pressure the seller and the seller didn't go for it, you may want to revise your offer and resubmit. But that's what an expiration date is and how it works. Hope that was helpful.